You're 32 years old. You've been grinding for 7 years straight. You skipped vacations, said no to weekend trips, drove the same beat-up Honda while your friends leased BMWs. And finally, your savings account hit $55,000. You did it. You saved the down payment. You walk into an open house on a Sunday afternoon. 3 bedrooms, decent neighborhood, listed at $480,000. The agent smiles at you like a shark that just spotted blood in the water. Mortgage rates are at 6.8% right now, but they could hit 7.5% next month. Inventory is at historic lows. If you wait, you'll be priced out forever. Your parents are texting you every week, asking when you're going to stop throwing money away on rent. Your college friends, who bought houses in 2019, are posting photos of their backyards, their renovated kitchens, dropping comments about locked-in rates and building equity. Meanwhile, you're sitting in your rented apartment with a calculator open, running the numbers for the 100th time. At 6.8% interest, with 20% down, your mortgage payment would be $2,788 per month. Add property taxes, $517 per month. Insurance, $180 per month. Maintenance at 1% of home value, $400 per month. Total monthly cost of ownership, $3,885. You're currently renting a comparable house for $2,400 per month. Your gut is screaming that renting makes more sense. But every voice in your life is telling you that you're making a catastrophic mistake, that renting is financial suicide, that you'll never build wealth without owning property. So you ask the question that's been eating you alive: which one is actually cheaper? And here's what nobody will tell you. There's actual math to answer this question. It's not emotional, it's pure arithmetic. And once you run the numbers, you'll stop listening to people who profit from your purchase and start making decisions based on financial reality instead of manipulated guilt. My name is Grayson Cole, and I spend way too much time thinking about why the biggest financial decision of your life is the one you're most likely to screw up, because everyone told you that rent is throwing money away. If you've ever wondered whether you should rent or buy, or if you're being emotionally blackmailed into buying a house you can't afford, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, because today we're dismantling the rent versus buy mythology using real 2026 numbers. We're exposing the unrecoverable costs of homeownership, calculating the break-even threshold, and showing you exactly when buying makes sense and when it's financial self-destruction. The answer is going to piss off a lot of homeowners. Let that sink in. Here's the foundational lie. When you rent, you're throwing money away. When you buy, you're building equity. This sounds logical. It sounds responsible, but it's horseshit. When you own a home, you are also throwing money away every single month. You're just throwing it in different directions. The real estate industry has spent billions making sure you never think about those costs. They've rebranded waste as investment, and they've convinced an entire generation that paying a bank $2,200 a month in interest is somehow superior to paying a landlord $2,200 in rent. Let's talk about what you're actually paying for when you build equity. When you own a home, you have 3 categories of costs that vanish forever. Money that builds zero equity. These are unrecoverable costs. Silent wealth killers that nobody mentions at the closing table. Unrecoverable cost number 1. Property taxes. You bought the house. You own the deed. But you still pay the government a percentage of the property's value every single year. In the US, the average effective property tax rate in 2026 is 1.08% annually. On a $480,000 house, that's $5,184 per year. That's $432 per month. Gone forever. You're not building equity by paying property taxes. You're renting your house from the government. If you stop paying, they take it. Unrecoverable cost number 2. Maintenance and repairs. Experts recommend budgeting 1 to 2% of your home's value every year just for maintenance. Let's use 1%. On a $480,000 home, that's $4,800 per year. $400 per month. This isn't for renovations. This is for the water heater that dies at 3 a.m., the roof that leaks, the HVAC that quits in July. This money evaporates. You're not building wealth by replacing a furnace. You're preventing the asset from becoming a liability. Unrecoverable cost number 3, the cost of capital. This breaks people's brains, but it's the most important concept in this video. Your money has opportunity cost. When you lock $48,000 into a down payment, you're choosing to put that capital into real estate estate instead of the stock market. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned 10% annually. Residential real estate appreciates at roughly 4% annually after inflation. The spread is 6%. That's the opportunity cost of your down payment. Every year, you're missing 6% returns by having your money locked in a wall. On a $48,000 down payment, that's $2,880 per year, $240 per month in foregone returns. But you're also paying mortgage interest on the other 80% you financed. At 6.8% interest on a $384,000 loan, you're paying approximately $26,112 in interest in year one. That's $2,176 per month going straight to the bank as pure profit. You're renting money from the bank at a 6.8% annual rate. Let's add it all up. Property taxes, $432 per month. Maintenance, $400 per month. Opportunity cost, $240 per month. Mortgage interest, $2,176 per month. Total unrecoverable costs, $3,248 per month. That's how much you're throwing away every month as a homeowner. Money you'll never see again, just like rent. If you can rent a comparable house for less than $3,248 per month, renting is mathematically superior, period. Now, how do you quickly figure this out for any market? There's a simple rule. It's called the percentage rule. Take the purchase price of a home, multiply it by a percentage representing total annual unrecoverable costs. Divide by 12 to get monthly unrecoverable costs. If you can rent for less than that number, rent wins. In 2023, when rates were 7%, the rule was 8.71%. In 2020, when rates were 3%, it was closer to 5%. In 2026, with rates around 6.8%, the updated rule is 8.1%. Here's the calculation. $480,000 home price. Multiply by 8.1%. That equals $38,880 in annual unrecoverable costs. Divide by 12. That's $3,240 per month. If you can rent a similar home for less than $3,240, renting is financially superior. That's it. You just saved yourself from potentially the worst financial decision of your life in 30 seconds. Let that sink in. Let's talk about 2026's market. Mortgage rates are averaging 6.7% for a 30-year fixed. Some forecasters think rates might dip to 6.2% by year end, but nobody credible predicts a return to 3% pandemic rates. Those days are gone. Meanwhile, home prices continue climbing. Median U.S. home prices are expected to rise 1.5 to 2% in 2026. Homes are getting more expensive, while financing is also getting more expensive. Double squeeze. But here's what's interesting. Median rent prices have declined year over year for 28 consecutive months. Rental affordability is improving, while homeownership affordability is getting worse. Rents are expected to rise about 2 to 3% in 2026, roughly in line with inflation. Meanwhile, if you buy at 6.8%, you're locked into that insane financing cost for 30 years. The market is screaming at you to rent, but nobody wants to hear it because culturally, renting is associated with failure. Let me show you the long-term wealth destruction. Two people, both 30 years old, both making $85,000. Person A buys a $480,000 house with $48,000 down at 6.8%. Person B rents for $2,400 per month and invests the difference into a low-cost index fund. Person A's monthly housing cost, $3,248, unrecoverable. Person B's cost, $2,400, rent. The difference? $848 per month. Person B invests that $848 at 8% annual return. Over 10 years, Person B accumulates $155,487 in liquid wealth. Person A, after 10 years, has paid down roughly $62,000 in principal. Their home appreciated 4% annually, so equity from appreciation is about $70,000. Total equity, $132,000, but it's trapped in walls. To access it, they sell and pay 6% realtor commissions, $28,800, plus closing costs, $8,000. After transaction costs, Person A walks away with $95,200. Person B has $155,487. Person B is $60,287 richer by renting and investing the difference. That's not a rounding error. That's a year of freedom. That's the cost of believing the lie. I hear the objections, but you're building equity. Sure. In year one, 80% of your payment is interest. Only 20% is principal. You're building about $560 per month, while the renter, investing $848 per month, builds $848 in compounding wealth. The renter wins. But it's forced savings. Set up an automatic transfer to a brokerage account. Boom. Forced savings without illiquidity or transaction costs. But tax deductions. The standard deduction is $14,600 for individuals, $29,200 for married couples. Unless you have significantly more in mortgage interest, you're not getting a benefit. Even if you itemize, the savings are maybe $200 to $400 per month, which doesn't offset opportunity cost. But rent keeps going up. So do property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Your mortgage is fixed, but your total cost absolutely is not. Over 20 years, property taxes and insurance have increased faster than rents in most markets. There are scenarios where buying makes sense. 1. You're staying 10 plus years, preferably 15. Transaction costs destroy short timeline gains. 2. The 8.1% rule works in your favor. 3. You have a massive down payment, 30 to 40%. 4. Rates drop to 4% or below. 5. You value intangible benefits enough to pay a premium. Fixed costs, customization, stability. These are real benefits, but they cost money. You're paying a lifestyle premium, not making an investment. Here's the framework. Stop asking, should I buy a house? Start asking, does buying make me wealthier than renting in this specific market right now? Run the 8.1% calculation. Be honest about how long you'll stay. Factor in transaction costs. If renting is cheaper, rent and invest the difference. If ownership is cheaper and you're staying a decade, buy. But don't buy because of pressure. Every person telling you to buy has a financial incentive. Your agent makes 3%. Your broker makes a commission. Your parents want bragging rights. Nobody profits when you rent intelligently. 3-step action plan. Step 1. Calculate break-even rent. Take home prices in your area, multiply by 0.081, divide by 12. Step 2. Compare to actual rent prices. If rent is cheaper, rent. Step 3. If you rent, auto-invest the difference into VTI or VTSAX. This builds liquid wealth you can deploy for opportunities. Renting is not throwing money away. Buying is not automatically building wealth. Both have unrecoverable costs. The question is, which has lower costs in your market right now? In 2026, with 6.8% rates, renting is financially superior in most US markets. The 8.1% rule gives you the answer in 30 seconds. Home price times 0.081 divided by 12 equals break-even rent. Run the math. Make decisions based on numbers, not emotions. The person telling you renting is throwing money away probably profits when you buy. Do the math yourself. If this video saved you from a $480,000 mistake, share it. Drop your break-even calculation in the comments. And subscribe for more content that exposes financial traps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. If you want to know why $30 an hour doesn't actually pay you $30, click the left video. And if you want to know the emergency fund trap and how it keeps you poor, click the right video, and I'll see you there in a second.